Have you ever imagined that this riding helmet, which you buy as a first thing when you plan for motorcycle touring, thinking it is the biggest asset for your safety, can actually make you quite sick with period of time and you have to give up your motorcycling if you choose a wrong helmet. And no one at the showroom tells you which helmet is right and which is wrong for you. Hello friends, welcome to Life on Full Tank and I am your friend Vishal, sharing here my experiences of 20 years with motorcycle and motorcycle touring. This is a special video that I have made you because I felt people who are aspiring for motorcycling and on the verge of buying a good motorcycle touring helmet needs this information because no one on YouTube today is giving you this information. The helmet that you wear for riding, thinking that it is the most important gear that gives you safety during any mishappenings, if not chosen correctly, with the passage of time, you land up in a severe sickness called cervical spondylitis, which in case goes severe, you have to quit riding, right? And no one of you would like to have that. So it is important to understand when we are buying a helmet, how should evaluate which helmet is good for you. When you go to any of the showrooms to buy a helmet, the people around there are interested to sell the brands that they have. I have no problem with any brand. Most of the brands that we know are good ones. But what I am trying to share here is two important points that you have to look into a helmet when you are buying one for you, which only you can evaluate seeing on your need of riding and the motorcycle that you have. No one else can. Use these two important points to buy a right helmet for you. Now the first important point is the profile of the helmet. And the profile of the helmet depends on what profile you should take. It actually depends on the kind of bike that you are riding. So the first important point is the profile of the helmet that you have to look into, and it depends what kind of bike you are using for touring. That will decide what kind of profile you should take in your helmet. Now what is a profile in a helmet? Profile. Now this is an empty helmet which I have been using for last 10 years. But this is not about endorsing any brand. You can take any brand of your choice and your budget. Typically a buyer in India prefers buying bit around 10-ish thousand, 6,000 to 10,000 as their first helmet to start their motorcycle touring. So that is also good enough. It's all up to you. Budget is your choice. But this remains constant what I'm telling you. Profile. Profile is nothing but the slope of your helmet. Now why this profile is important? Because this profile of the helmet decides the aerodynamics that you will be facing, the forces of air then when it hits to your helmet, and that forces get transferred to your neck. So that force is the add-on on the weight of the helmet, right? You are not only carrying the weight of the helmet. This wind blasts come, hits to your helmet, and that converts as a force against which your neck muscles has to work to hold your head, right? So it is a good amount of pressure coming to your neck, and if your helmet profile is not right, the blast and the impact of that force will be much more. Now what is a profile? Profile is a slope. Now you can see this is a slope in this helmet, the front. There are typically two kind of slopes that comes. One is the front slope, another is you will see the helmet which is higher on the front, but the slope is at the behind of the helmet. Now look at the riding position, and which depends on the bike you are using. Suppose you are using typically these days people are preferring adventure tourer. What happens in an adventure tourer? In adventure tourer, your riding position is up straight, and when you are sitting up straight, the force of the air or the wind hits in front of you. Now what happens when wind hits front of you? It hits this part. When it hits this part and the slope is in front, the wind gets diverted towards up. If this is flatter in the front, then the force will be high. So if you are riding an adventure touring bike or any bike where your posture is up straight like this, buy a helmet which has a slope in the front. And if you are using a sports bike in which your posture is front bend, more aggressive, the wind blast will hit on your head. When the wind blast will hit on your head, the slope should be behind so that it takes your wind behind you. That is one of the most important point. See the slope, is it behind or is it front? If an adventure tourer, use a front slope helmet. If a sports tourer, use a helmet with a behind slope. This is one of the important point. Second important point is the fit of the helmet. You would have heard everybody saying that your helmet should be tight fit. I would say the helmet should not be tight fit, it should be snug fit. Means in the beginning you should really feel little suffocated in the helmet. You should feel your skull is getting pressed. Breathing should not be a problem, but you should feel a pressure on your skull. Why? So when you go to a showroom to buy a helmet, they simply gives you a helmet and say, sir, try. And then you try it and you feel this is okay for me and you take it. That is not the right way. First of all, get your crown size measured. If carry a tape with you, a measuring tape. If showroom doesn't have, measure your crown size, your head size with the tape, and that will decide you should use what size of helmet. The way you decide your shirt, your trouser with the measuring tape, same way by the size of your head, your helmet gets decided, because all these engineering design people who have designed the helmet for the final right outcome, the basis of choosing a helmet is the crown size. What happens that when you buy a helmet with the right crown size, it will be quite pressing to your skull in the beginning. And why that is made that way? People take helmets which are comfortable to wear, and when they wear, you will find that this part of the helmet is sitting on your head, which should never happen. This part of the helmet should not touch your head, or if at all it is touching, it should be just a very gentle touch. Because if this part is touching on your head, entire pressure of the helmet is getting transferred to your neck, the entire weight. Whereas if you take a good snug fill helmet, it gets the pressure on your skull and entire weight gets fit on your face. It gets distributed equally on your face. So there is no direct pressure getting transferred to your neck. That is the biggest reason your helmet should be snug fit. One, the helmet should not touch at the top. The weight should not get transferred to your neck. It should hold the helmet should hold itself on your face by the side pressing of the cushions. One. Second, a snug fill helmet, when you are riding at 110, 120, 140, if you are moving your neck to see your mirrors, it will not little bit move here and there. And third important thing, why it has to be pressing on your face, because when your helmet hits any object or the road, there is a layer inside a helmet. The job of this layer is it stands between the outer shell and the head, so that any impact coming get compressed on the outer side of that layer and it doesn't get transferred to your head. So that layer gets pressed from the outer side. If your helmet is loose, it is little bit shaking, then it will directly transfer the force bang to your head. These are the most two important things. I again speak out. One is the profile, to first understand what bike you have. It's a up straight sitting or it's a sport posture sitting. Based on that, see the profile of helmet you need. Don't buy helmets with that caps, right? It looks very fancy, but it's actually for off-roading, to save your visor from bricks and sludge. It is not for touring. That cap adds an extra aerodynamics force for your neck. Buy a good touring helmet. Front slope if you are buying an adventure tourer, if you are riding an adventure tourer. Behind slope if you are riding a sports tourer. Second, take a snug fit helmet on which the ceiling head of the helmet is not touching your head. The force or the weight is getting distributed throughout your skull by the pressure, right? Go and buy any brand. All are good. You can see your certifications, lot of videos, what kind of helmet you want, experience yourself, what you like, take it. But don't forget these two important points, so that you don't suffer with cervical spondylitis later and you have to leave your passion of biking. Cheers. If you like this video, you found it knowledgeable, please do subscribe. It's a big appreciation for me and I feel further motivated to keep bringing such kind of knowledge sharing sessions for you.